Hey guys, this is Spanky Hayes, and I want to say something, whether it's comedy, acting, or just in general real life. I use my A game. I gotta have the A game. I pack it in every pocket. I got one pill in every pocket, and every pair of pants I got. Listen, entertaining y'all is hard sometimes. I gotta fly to Dallas, then to Denver, then to New York, then to LA, then to Detroit. Come on, man. That tires me out. I just take the A game now. I don't have that problem no more. I usually barely don't sleep because I'm entertaining y'all. I'm in the studio all night with the A game. And trust me, when I come home from the studio, my woman gets to feel the real pleasure of the A game. You see, I'm smiling. Watch this. Hey, baby.
Hey, babe.
Guess what I just took?
What?
A game, A game, A game, A game. I'm gonna meet you upstairs, all right?
Oh, okay.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello. Hopefully y'all can hear me today. I had a real good mind to play some Brother Malcolm as we came on. But then, you know, some folks' attention span ain't that long, so, you know, they might have walked out. And so I don't know. I ain't know about playing Brother Malcolm. But how y'all doing today? Y'all doing on this fine Tuesday? I need you to get on in here, Crimsonites. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on in as you come in. I need you to go ahead and hit the like button as you come in. Thank you, Digital Swag. We got a lot to uncover. This is why black women would not be respected by Malcolm X today. They'd have been somewhere trying to cancel Brother Malcolm. They'd have been trying to cancel him. I really should have played that clip. It was like 6 minutes long. That's the only thing that gave me pause. Because had it been like 3 minutes or 4 minutes, I'd have played it. We got a lot to talk about because I want people to put in the chat room their definition of the American dream. What's the American dream? Just type it out in the chat room. Whatever you think sums it up. Write what you think is the American dream. If you catch this on a replay, put it in the comment section. What is your definition of the American dream? Thank you, Roderick. Because see, when the nation's founding fathers tried to define what they thought the so-called American dream was going to be, it didn't have a whole lot to do with amassing personal wealth. There was a man named James Adams. James Truslow Adams, where the phrasing, the American dream, he popularized that phrasing. But when he popularized that phrasing, or popularized that phrasing, he was writing what he wrote in the middle of the Great Depression. So it wasn't about wealth. He was actually criticizing. He was criticizing the amassing of great personal wealth. See, back in the day, even white men used to argue about what was to be considered the American dream. A lot of them was talking about the fair structure of the society. Everybody being able to take advantage of the fair structure within the society. I really want to play that clip of Malcolm. It is 6 whole minutes. Anyway. In any case, I don't mean to pause that way, but I was trying to figure out if anything was going on with the connection. I don't see it. Okay. But in any case, and I got my notes here, but it's so much to unpack. It's so much. The American dream was to be a culture. It was to take the position of a culture in an America that didn't have one. Because America is a melting pot. It's an experiment. Thank you, Uncle Stu. It's an experiment. The experiment was, can we gather all of these people with mixed cultural background and create this melting pot where no matter where you came from, no matter what your ancestry was, no matter where you start in this country, we will create the fairest structure that we possibly can so that people can be able to take advantage of the democracy, of the equality, of the freedom, of all of these things. Only problem is when they were talking about the American dream, who were they not talking about? Put that in the chat room. When the founding fathers of America was talking about a fair structure, who were they not talking about? Who was not included in the so-called American dream, in the so-called democracy, in the so-called fair, balance, equality, righteousness, justice of this land? It was us. It was us. When they talked about what could be done, see, when they were writing declarations of independence, when they were writing the Constitution, when they were writing all of these historical writs, all of these historically landmark ideas. They wasn't talking about us. They never were, and they still not. But the black woman got fooled into thinking they were talking about her. How did she get fooled with that? What happened for her to get fooled with that? Well, white feminism happened. I'm going to tell y'all how that really played out. Because see, black women were told through the first wave of feminism all the way through, but particularly the first, that black men, because they had been given on paper the right to vote before white women, that they would be able, black men, would be able to achieve or get closer to the so-called American dream before black women. And that if black men were allowed to achieve the American dream, he would leave the black woman behind, much like white women said white men were leaving them behind due to patriarchy. Are you following that? Listen, black women, come over here for a moment. You know, we are women. Now, this is a woman that ain't got nothing in common with a black woman. This is a woman that has not lived up until the first wave of feminism, had not lived anywhere close to the life of a black woman in this country. Yet, she wanted to, have a little consultation. She wanted to have a little powwow with black women and say, guess what? You want to be recognized as a full-fledged human being. You want your femininity recognized, and we prepared to do that. However, you can't be following black men because we live under a patriarchy. And if anybody's gonna get a leg up first, it's gonna be them, not you. And see, if they get a leg up, they're gonna neglect you like our men neglect us. And you know that they neglect us because that's why we fighting for rights. So the achievements of our men have not been passed down to us. That was the lie, or part of the lie, that was given to black women. Oh, us poor white women. Yes, we live in finer houses than you. Yes, we live in better areas than you. Yes, we live in a time where we're considered human beings and you're not. Yes, we're living in a time where there is, whites only and Jim Crow and all of these sorts of things. Yeah, we living in that time. But we need to come together as women because our common enemy is men and the patriarchy. Not bothering to point out the fact that only white men, and that even of a certain class, could even take advantage of the patriarchy. They couldn't even do it. A poor white man didn't have as much rights as a wealthy one. Notice at one point in this country, the only people eligible to vote were white men who own land. Okay? So not even every white man could take advantage of the so-called patriarchy if he was not of a certain class. First wave feminism was happening in the late 1800s. Understand that. Black women looked around and saw black men fighting for the rights of everybody, but see, even they saw that black men were given the right to vote on paper. Now, we're not talking about the practical use of that. We're not talking about the fact that black men were allowed to vote on paper, but in reality, everything was done possible to prevent black men from voting. Correct? Notwithstanding the fact that black men were still not seen as complete and total human beings in this country. But black women were told, you can live the American dream, but you gotta get there before your men do, to ensure that you are not left behind. Because they'll leave you behind like our men leave us behind. I got to play Brother Malcolm because I got a lot to say, and Brother Malcolm gonna say some of it for me. So let's actually get this done.
Loomed to be such an explosive political year, because this is the year of politics. This is the year when all of the white politicians are going to come into the Negro community. You never see them until election time. You can't find them until election time. They're going to come in with false promises, and as they make these false promises, they're going to feed our frustrations, and this will only serve to make matters worse. I'm no politician. I'm not even a student of politics. I'm not a Republican, nor a Democrat, nor an American, and got sense enough to know it. I'm one of the 22 million black victims of the Democrats. One of the 22 million black victims of the Republicans, and one of the 22 million black victims of Americanism. And when I speak, I don't speak as a Democrat or a Republican. I speak as a victim of America's so-called democracy. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy.
We're going to pause, Brother Malcolm. We're going to pause, Brother Malcolm, for a moment. I don't even want to interrupt him. But we're going to pause, Brother Malcolm, for a moment, because he said we have not experienced the democracy. We have experienced the hypocrisy. What's the hypocrisy? See, the hypocrisy is what? That America is founded on this. Can you hear me now? Had to change it. I don't know what's going on with OBS. I probably have to go through each one of these things and do the same thing. But in any case, I know that you can hear me now because my mic is moving. But okay. See, the lie is that it was supposed to be based on the 10 life values. That it was supposed to be based on spiritual value and health value. And family and appearance and dwelling. But it's not. It's not based on that. Maybe at one time the founding fathers believed that. Because here, let me tell you something. All of the societies that were successful before was based on the 10 life values, regardless of the fact if they morphed into something else later on or not. Whether they got corrupted later on or not. Let me just be real frank. The white man has only seen the successful system of our ancestors that was based on the 10 life values. Let me just put that full stop. The success that they saw long term was from us practicing the 10 life values because that's what we have ancestrally practiced in our civilizations, which is what made them prosperous. Even when you look at fictional stuff like Wakanda, what was Wakanda based on? See, people was mad. Let me use the Black Panther for a minute, since that's part of pop culture and everybody in here done saw that, whether you was a Marvel fan or not. See, people was calling T'Challa soft because T'Challa had a moral code. And they liked Killmonger better because he didn't. T'Challa had been raised under the 10 life value system where the internal values were first and then the external values came second. The wealth and the abundance was a result of them living for generations under the 10 life value system. That's why they had all of that. I mean, you can say, yeah, vibranium, but they could have been stupid enough to screw that off and not be able to benefit from it. But because each generation lived under that 10 life values, the prosperity continued. Killmonger comes along. Where was he raised? In America, whose system is what? The lost value system. That's the system that Killmonger grew up in. Do you understand now the differences, what I'm talking about? See, everybody liked Killmonger because he was getting things done because he didn't have a stupid moral system to stop him. Nobody paid attention to the fact that it was the little white guy from the CIA that was like, no, we created him. He's one of ours. I.e., he's operating on our value system, not yours. So even though he might be blood related to you, he's our creation. No, nobody paid attention to that part. Nobody paid attention to that part. He repeatedly told T'Challa and everybody who would listen. He was like, no. Killmonger is ours. And they're like, no, when he was like, Killmonger is ours. We taught him how to do everything he about to do to you. We taught him that. That's how he even got to you. We taught him how to do this. He's under our value system. So he don't have no moral code, no spirituality. He don't care about the health, the mental health, the emotional health. He don't care about the family. He don't care about the appearance. He don't care about the dwelling. He only cares about the mobility, the education, the profession, the leisure, and the wealth. That's all. We taught him how to do that. And I know I spent off, but I didn't really spin off. Because I need to bring every reference, and we're going to get back to Brother Malcolm, but I need to bring every reference point so that people can understand exactly what I'm talking about. That this is not a bunch of mumbo jumbo that I'm talking about. See, the hypocrisy that Malcolm X was referring to was they trying to say they based everything on the 10 life values, and they did not. That's the lie. The reality is that they have inculcated and instituted the lost value system. That's why it's a nightmare for us. We're going to get to how this ties directly into black women, right? But what I needed to do was flesh out this entire situation so that people can understand what we're talking about, the difference between the American dream and the American nightmare, and what Malcolm was talking about. See, he wasn't just talking about the experiences of his time being a nightmare where you have open racism and open segregation and open, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that stuff was obvious, but that was not all that he was referring to. That wasn't all that he was referring to. I want to do a real quick commercial break, then we'll be back.
See, wherever I go, stay ready, stay alert. I'm always prepared for whatever. I see me. There's a seat right here. You can see from all angles. I'm ready. It's time to get down to business. Game time.
Hi, honey. I know you just made it to the library, but love of my life, my hero, my lion, you forgot your A game. So come home, take it, and then you can go and conquer the world, black man. Oh, and one more thing. Would it kill you to just wear some socks? I'm just saying. Love you. And can you bring home some milk?
Oh, man. She's killing me. Okay, I'll go back. I'm gonna get my A game. I'm not putting them socks on. I'm good. I'm fly. I'm fresh. I'm gonna stop at 7-Eleven to get some milk.
Okay, we're back. So go ahead and get the likes up. Come on. Bam, 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 bam. You gotta get the likes up. Bam, bam. You gotta Okay. We gonna get back to Brother Malcolm. But I need for people to understand, this might even be a two-parter because there's actually a lot to unpack. There's an article I would have wanted to read, but we're not going to go there. Because, like I said before, These people didn't see success until they saw us. Understand that they didn't have nothing. They were scrapping and scrambling and cutting each other's throats on some scavenger type, scarcity mindset type stuff. It is only when they began to interact with us that they understood these people are living something different. And this is why they have all that they have. See, we wasn't waiting on him to see the rest of the world. We had already traveled across the ocean. We had already done that. Melanated people all over the world, on every continent. Do you understand that? And we didn't have to wait for him to bring us nowhere. And I ain't even really talking about no, we was kings and queens type stuff. I'm talking about that's what our ancestors was on. How does this tie into black women? First, before we do that, I'm going to let Brother Malcolm help y'all with that.
And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. If you go to jail, so what? If you're black, you were born in jail. If you black, you were born in jail. In the North as well as the South. Stop talking about the South. Long as you south of the Canadian border, you're South. Don't call Governor Wallace a Dixie governor. Romney is a Dixie governor. $22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. They see that the whites are so evenly divided that every time they vote, the race is so close they have to go back and count the votes all over again. And which means that any block, any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You can keep Johnson in Washington, D.C., or you can send him back to his Texas cotton patch. You're the one who sent Kennedy to Washington. You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump.
We heard Brother Malcolm. See, let me listen. He wasn't playing no games. He wasn't playing no games. Are we or are we not living that out right now with this past election? Was that or was that not what happened? And this isn't an endorsement of the Republicans. But what I want to point out is that who's the voting bloc for black people? Black women. And who keeps making it swing in the favor of the Democrats whenever possible. Black women. Why did they try to get black men to do it through what? Black women. Come get your booty to the poll. We gonna strip on the poll so you can vote in the polls. And then what did the Democrats do just this election? I ain't even asking you to go back into history to an administration you didn't live under. I'm talking about the one you're living under right now. They got in the office and passed an Asian American Pacific Islander bill, right? Where's the bill for black folk? Y'all running around here thinking you gonna get reparations, and you not. Who keeps voting for Democrat? Who was praised for flipping Georgia blue? Thank you, Philip. It was a black woman. It was a black woman. Are we seeing this? It's almost like I don't have the words to give it to you, even though there's a plethora of words that gives it to you. And then what did Malcolm call him? Because you a chump. You keep doing it because you a chump. What's a chump? Somebody that get punked around. Somebody that just get ran over. You know, you gonna do what I say because you ain't got the backbone to do something else other than what I say. That's a chump. And see, I don't want nobody, thank you, Shaquille, I don't want nobody to get caught up in the Republican Democrat thing. I don't want you to get caught up there. Don't get stuck. This is a grander idea. Even though Malcolm was speaking in those parameters, he wasn't just talking about political awareness. He wasn't just talking about the differences between Democrats and Republicans, because he wasn't even endorsing Republicans. He wasn't. If you know anything about Malcolm, he wasn't endorsing that stuff. But what he was doing was pointing out the lost value system. That's the hypocrisy. That's why it's a nightmare. Because under the lost value system, there's no fair structure. I'm going to flip to the lost value system, but give me a second for the sound, because I know it's going to do the same thing. But hold up. Okay. So when we take a look at the lost value system, under mobility, there's no fair structure. Let me say something to you about the function of mobility in the lost value system and within the 10 life values. It is the doorway or the gateway between your internal values and access to the external things. Do you understand? Mobility is the doorway or the gateway between your internal values and access to the external things. It's the gateway. Okay? What do we call black people that's set to monitor mobility? What do we call them? What do we call them? Somebody put it in the chat. What do we call them? Gatekeepers. They are gatekeepers because they keep the gateway. What's the gateway? Mobility. Is it starting to come together? I hope it is. They're gatekeeping. Mobility is the gateway between your internal values and access to external things. They gave Black women the keys to mobility for the Black community. What are the keys? If you abandon the internal values, we don't need you with a moral compass. Abandon spirituality. We don't need you focusing on your health, mental, physical, or emotional, nor the health of your family and children. Abandon that. We don't need you looking after your family. We degrade her thoughts of family through feminism. She doesn't need to be cooking and cleaning and looking after no man and looking after her kids and doing all of this menial domestic work that women ain't got to do, and women ain't got to do all that kind of stuff. She don't have to be the caretaker of her family. Dismiss that. Your appearance, no standard. We don't need you to have a standard, Black women, for your appearance. Leave that alone. Your dwelling is gonna fall by the wayside, but all of that will be worth it because I'm gonna give you the key to mobility. I'm gonna tell Black women that even though there's no fair structure, I'll make it fair for you. There is no fair structure, but I will make it fair for you. But you gotta close the door behind you. Don't let them evil, no account, patriarchal, oppressive, tyrannical Black men in behind you. And we will give you education access. We'll put into play the grants and the laws and the little bills and the other little policies and local and state policies that's gonna help you get into these educational facilities to be indoctrinated, not educated. We're not trying to make you smarter. We're not trying to have you critically thinking. We just want to get you in our institutions so you can be institutionalized, so that the next generation of you will do the same thing on automatic. We're not trying to educate you. Get this little piece of paper. We'll open up the floodgates for you to get into these different professions, whichever one you're trying to lean towards. We'll get you in there. We'll make sure you can get up to middle management. We'll make sure you can get into HR departments. We'll make sure that you get into every place where you are able and capable to gatekeep. We will put you in gatekeeping positions, from the littlest to the biggest. You do that with your profession, and we'll give you unlimited leisure. And you'll have no detachment from wealth, which becomes your God. And because wealth will become your God, thank you, Michael, you will do anything to maintain the position that we grant you here. the chat if you want to go back to Malcolm a little bit. Put one in the chat, you want to go back to Malcolm a little bit. Okay.
A political chump. In Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, there are 257 who are Democrats. Only 177 are Republicans. In the Senate, there are 67 Democrats. Only 33 are Republicans. The party that you bash controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you because you're a chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race. And what kind of alibi do they come up with? They try and pass the buck to the Dixiecrats. Now, back during the days when you were blind, deaf, and dumb, ignorant, politically immature, naturally you went along with that. But today, as your eyes come open and you develop political maturity, you're able to see and think for yourself. And you can see that a Dixiecrat is nothing but a Democrat in disguise. You look at the structure of the government that controls this country. It's controlled by 16 senatorial committees and 20 congressional committees. Of the 16 senatorial committees that run the government, 10 of them are in the hands of Southern segregationists. Of the 20 congressional committees that run the government, 12 of them are in the hands of Southern segregationists. And they're going to tell you and me that the South lost the war.
All right. So I just needed Brother Malcolm to complete that. Let him finish talking. But you heard what he said. You keep voting for these same people. Thank you, Lucchese. Thank you, AKs and Curtains. I hope I didn't miss anyone else. James, thank you so much. We heard him say traitor to the race. Why is he saying traitor to your race? Because you are promoting a system, a value system that will destroy black people. It's going to destroy us. See, it's not just the institutional racism. It's not just the laws and policies. It's not just this person being in office and that person being in office and this bill was passed. It's not just that. Because they gave it to women. They gave it to black women. They gave her the pathway how to destroy your people, and you, quote unquote, are spared the destruction. Here's your map. First, you must vote Democrat. Black women always do that, overwhelmingly so. You close the door behind you when you pass through the internal to the external, that door of mobility. There's no fair structure for them, but we'll make it fair for you. So you close the door behind you. And thirdly, she must pass the lost value system down to her children as a culture. I'm sorry. This. America has no culture. Doesn't have one. The American culture is now the lost value system. That's the culture. The amassing of wealth, the upward mobility, the discarding of any moral compass, of any spiritual wealth or health. Thank you, AKs, of anything or to do with your family. They have worked to destroy actively these things. They work to destroy your spiritual connection by telling you that believing in a higher power makes you stupid. They attacked your health by telling you it's healthy to be overweight, to eat the American diet. The acronym for the standard American diet is SAD. We got some of the highest rates of diabetes, kidney failure, hypertension, heart disease. It's cancer. It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. Don't have no care for your appearance. Women, you can walk outside half naked and should nobody have nothing to say. It's all good and you people's biology don't matter. And you know what I'm saying? If you walk out half naked, a man ain't supposed to look. Even though it's within his very biology to look at you. We don't care about not having no peace in the home. If you don't have no peace in the home, then maybe you'll be ready to come out of it so you can burn the midnight oil at work. That's how they get a lot of you to have more hours at the job because you don't want to go home because it's an argument at home. Because it ain't nothing but stress at home. Thank you, Philip. I didn't mean to do that little A-gang box. You're talking to me. Get you to come back. You'll burn the midnight oil. Because you ain't got nothing else to do. Nothing else going in your life to make a bunch of empty vessels. So you will do what? Work for the system. What system? The lost value system that feeds the monster that we call America. And black women lead the charge for black people. This is why I go so hard. Because black women have to be the ones that wake up. You have accepted, hook, line, and sinker, the entire lost value system. And you live by it every day. And not only do you live by it, you rear your children to live by it. That is the community. What you pass down to your children as the culture, that is the community. That is the community. The shackles and the chains is white supremacy, but white supremacy is the lost value system. The shackles and the chains is white supremacy, but white supremacy is the lost value system. Thank you, Scar King. Thank you so much, sweetheart. So it wasn't Donald Trump. We got to get him out of office. Why? Because Biden was better? Because one of them lives under the lost value system and the other one don't? Knock it off. We don't have time to be this dumb. I'm talking to you, black women. We don't have time to be this dumb. You constantly under the lost value system and you don't see no problem with it. And that's a problem. Everything we pass down in our culture is part and parcel of the lost value system. Every single thing. Everything. From getting the bag to twerking everywhere to... Thank you again, Luke Casely. It's not these individual things. It's all of it. You don't understand the principalities at work, the demonic energy at work here, because you removed the truth. So there's nothing left now but lies and deception. When you remove the truth, there's nothing left but lies and deceptions. Who is the author of confusion and the father of lies? I can't keep going. I can't keep going today. I have to stop. I just want us to understand. I just want us to understand. I want us to get it, black women. This isn't about bashing. Today's show is brought to you by A-Game, which is a male herbal solution full of 21 wonderful herbs No animal byproducts, no artificial ingredients, no caffeine, no sweeteners, just 100% natural goodness so men can address their vitality, their strength, their energy, and their libido. So guys, if you want to get on your A game, ladies, if you got men in your life that you want on their A game, you join the A game family real simple by clicking the link at the top of the chat, agameherbal.com, and you can get a 10% discount using the code Kendra10. So you can have this box of awesomeness on its way to you ASAP. 5-star product and 5-star service. I'm gonna go ahead. I want to thank everybody for their contributions, both through the super chat and through Cash App, and for just being with me for a while. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye, Crimsonites. Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification. Don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure on the next one.